Alright. I haven't done single defense in a while, and I kind of want to play around with it. Do we want to do the single ballista run? It is nothing short of tempting to give it a shot. Because I feel like if I can learn that, then the rest of the game just becomes cakewalk. Otherwise, we mix in one other tower. And I'm not fully sure. Let's see, mana bank. We should probably pick up the mana bank. Even if it's a little premature. Now let's see if we get a really good loop around here. Because if we get a bad split, then I think I will mix in another tower that fits better. But if I don't get a bad split, or if I get a really good setup, then we stick to ballistas. Or if we get like a grossly good setup, maybe I mix in another tower to just, you know, exploit whatever the, let's see, banditry level 2, yeah. Exploit whatever feature, whatever, like, path it's giving to me. This is currently, I don't know what I'm feeling on this one. Honestly, maybe Saw Blades if I want to go Saw Blades again. Because I still haven't gotten the win on a Saw Blade run. We've only won with Tesla Towers and Poison Throwers. I feel like the Saw Blades might not be a bad move. There we go. Do the towers next to the houses have to be ballistas? No, they don't, but I generally prefer to have them be. Well, we've got a really nice long straightaway. I'm just curious if it's going to keep going like this or if it's ever going to turn back on itself. Because if it turns back on itself, we are very much in the money. I'm just going to put a ballista up here for the time being. I'm going to set most of these to most health. There we go. Perfect. Banditry level 3? Yes. The bleed would be nice, but the more money would be nicer. Okay. Honestly, a split after this is not the worst. Right now, it's a massive inconvenience. But I can work with the other stuff. Okay. These are still set to most health. Yeah, we don't have the slow yet. We haven't really made these that primo. There we go. But yeah, the nice part is, because I've set these to most health, most of the towers that are... or most of the enemies that are reaching me don't have their armor. Do we want to get heavy shafts? Because I could go for the bleed, which is good, but a little bit premature. Frost bolts is probably the best, but I think I'm going to go for the armor, and we're going to try and loop this back. There we go. And we want to split these up so that they're coming at different paces. Because one thing I've learned very specifically is that you want your foes to be coming as spread out as possible. If they come in a cluster, say for if you're going Tesla towers, you're gonna get mobbed. But if you can pace it out so it's one lane or one entry point's worth of enemies, then the second, then the third, and so on and so forth, it works. Way better. Let's go for longbow. Let's pick this. Okay, not quite enough money. Most health again. There we go. Yeah, this way they'll just chunk down anybody that has armor, so all of the enemies that get to this point just get finished off, as opposed to my towers desperately trying to kill them. There's a couple that are still getting through, but it's fine. Is the Spire whatever the one that melts enemies any good? Are we talking the Obelisk? Honestly, I've actually had the worst experiences with the Obelisk. Comparatively, it's not bad necessarily, but nor is it amazing. Okay, it's turning. That's fortuitous. Because yeah, if I can get it to go straight here, we've got a lot that I can do with that. And then we also have to watch out for the Oogie Wave, but I don't think I need to worry about that too much here. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. So what's new with this game? Honestly, I don't think they've really updated it too much. I've been playing way too much. I've been getting a lot better, is kind of my main thing. I don't know. A lot of this game's like difficulty curve is just based on knowledge and implementation. And as I get closer and closer to like what I would call kind of the primo meta upgrades, makes my life easier. Ooh, do we want to do haunted houses for this one? Yes. So you're doing the only Ballista run. Damn it. Okay. No, this is fine. This could have been amazing. And now it's rough. I might want to mix in another tower just to give me a boost here, because I might be able to do this Ballistas only. No, I probably can do this Ballistas only now that I'm thinking about it. You're stuck at wave 42 with only Ballista. Yeah, I can imagine. It's probably RNG after a certain point. Do the burn damage. Alright, let's just get it. Okay, most health. Did I get them the extra range? I did. Yeah, at least we get this kind of nice loop back, and if this turns, I'm gonna be a happy camper. Because if I can get this to go around here, or the other way, then it's a lot easier. Unfortunately, we'll see. Let's see. So what's the advantage of putting turrets next to houses? You get money per wave by having them there. And proper ratios of towers focus on certain things, I think. Yeah. One thing I'm definitely going to want to do is have a couple of very specialized ballistas. If I want to go that direction. Do I go for mana bolts? Yes. I don't know where it's going now, and that scares me a bit. But the extra base damage is going to go a very far way at making this easier. Even still, with this situation, it is a little tempting to potentially mix in one more tower. At the same time, I could potentially turn this into Ballista Hell. Like, especially this section, and then here. And that would let most things just kind of rip and tear. I don't know. I'm really torn on this. Do I go full solo Ballista for a run? And I feel like I've got to, unless the game tells me otherwise. Okay, get a second mana bank, just because I know we're going to need it. It would be really interesting. I just want it to loop back here, because if I can fill this area with defenses as well, to hit both sides. I mean, I guess this spot could feasibly do it. Yeah, actually this one's pretty good. So this entire mountaintop is quite viable. So I think this area, I mean this spot specifically is probably my best. Okay. Yeah, just shredding this. I think the one thing that would probably make this easiest is going to be a Sanguinate, like all of the crit related perks for status effects. Because yeah, if we can do 20% damage per status effect to every single enemy that we hit, I bet that would do tons. Do I go for Frostbolts? Yeah. I feel like I've got it. Damn it. It's going the wrong direction. I mean, there's no strict wrong direction. Boy, I have just been a whistling mess this year. I don't know. It happened recently, and I haven't been able to shake it. Or when I talk, it just whistles slightly, and it's like, no, don't do that. One of the other things I've noticed over the last couple runs that I've done is that armor is not nearly as much of a problem as you think it is. And so, like, it's very easy to build towards armor and care about it, but I think for the most part I'm going to just build towards anti-shields. Because those are the enemies that get through. I mean, there's the question of the robots and their missiles. Okay, ballistas gain range, ballistas gain burn. Or ballistas gain crit. I'm gonna go for the range for the time being. Let's see. You know, I should probably actually have a number of these guys focused on fastest as well. Because we do want everybody to be as slow as possible. Most health makes the most amount of sense. But slowing down the fast guys, I don't know actually. I'm not fully sold on which is a better priority system. How's my mana doing? It is holding. Because the thing is, most health usually factors into fastest, because those are the ones that I haven't hurt yet. Let's see, extra burn damage, or more mana bolts. More mana bolts, because ultimately that leads to more burn damage. Okay, I should have enough money for 2 more of these. Yes. More bleed damage, or no. We're gonna need enchanted bolts pretty bad. Alright. It's splitting again. I don't know how bad that's gonna be. Okay. There's a whole bunch of dudes coming from the other side. The shielded guys are kind of gonna be my big worry. Because I haven't actually gotten anti-shield yet. As I haven't seen the run you mentioned with the Tesla win, where Tesla's good for shields. Teslas are just good. I go so far as to say that Teslas are potentially the best tower in the game, if leveraged properly. Because you don't have to have them be anti-shield. You don't have to have them be anti-armor. All you do is you just stack their just power level, like 2 of them in sequence, and it almost doesn't matter what you've done with them beyond that. Hey, and thank you, Josh, for the raid, and welcome on in. For those of you that don't know, Josh is one of my buddies, one of my local buddies, and also just all-around cool guy. You were... oh no, I guess you do early streams, more so than late ones, I think? Either way, welcome on in, everybody. We're playing Rogue Tower. It is a, roguelike tower defense game. Ooh. Do I want to sell this? Yeah, let's demolish this and get another mana bank, because we're running a little low. These guys aren't getting through. It's going to be a little tough, but still. Yeah, if we can get poison on this, we will be a happy camper. Extra damage to armor, extra damage to health. None of these are amazing. I could also go for maybe the mine on this one. Oh, here's the other thing. We can get the haunted houses down. Barely. The spawns on those haunted houses leave much to be desired. But I can get them down. Okay. I might want to get one of these. Like you. I'm going to actually have you be most shield. That's your job now. And just dump a bunch of money into this. But yeah, Rogue Tower is going great. I really enjoy this game. It's got a lot of neat features that most tower defenses don't have, and so I've just been like hopelessly hooked on this, more so than most. Yeah, that extra damage multiplier is is huge. I think I'm gonna be fine. We do desperately need to get another mana bank down. But yeah, I'm trying to break my addiction for this game, and it's not working that well, just because there's so many strats that I have yet to try. And there's like three different towers that I straight up just have not used. Like I've put them down and been like, oh, that's neat, but I haven't actually like worked towards using them yet. And I very much want to. And so that's going to be possibly my project for today. Do things that I don't normally do to see how well that fares. Did I finish 3-path yet? Yeah, I finished 3-path last night. It was the last run I did was a very strong 3-path run. It was a weird scuffed one, but it worked. Let's get the bleed damage. Okay. Get another 2 mana banks down. Let's see. You stay away from haunted houses because they cost mana. So that's actually generally a good idea. The mana drain from haunted houses is a little rough if you don't have enough mana banks to sustain them. And the financial benefit to haunted houses is, frankly, kind of minimal. Yeah, particle cannons? Yeah, I haven't used the particle cannons at all. I want to, and I'm gonna get around to it, but they haven't been much of a priority for me. Just because other things seemed better. But right now I'm messing around with, hey, what if I only use one tower type? Can I do this? Because I feel like if I can carry a run most of the way with ballistas, or all the way with ballistas, then I can pick any other tower to pair with it, and generally have a fine time. Unless level RNG decides to do something mega stupid and kill me. Which, I mean, could happen. Let's see, if you found that since it came out at and past level 30 is just a bit mean. Yeah, I'd say 35 is when the game gets, like, actually tremendously quite difficult. What are we doing here? I should probably actually stop putting mana banks here. Kind of, because it wouldn't be a bad idea to litter this area with a couple of extra defenses. Maybe not. I don't know. I just like that visual there. Haunted houses will use mana twice as efficiently. Yes. I don't necessarily know if that means more money. It does. So that actually doubles their income. So that's actually kind of massive. Okay. Beyond that, we should probably just keep slapping some of these guys down. And it doesn't actually look like the ghosts are surviving as much. Probably because this thing pops them a couple of times, and that's enough to take him down. We might want to do the same kind of out here, have a couple extra ballistas to just do some chip, instead of really focusing this area. So Ballista only limits attacking towers, but not buildings? Yes. Yeah. Boy, if you were limited on support towers, things would get dire fast. Okay. Another mana bank. Where do I invest? Probably here-ish. Because there's only so many slots to put things down. Looks like I tried to do it in a more difficult way than it should. Level 40 was a death wall. Level 40 is actually always a bit of a death wall. It's the beholder portals. That's when they start spawning, and they will just like fractal pop into a bunch of different beholders, and that's when things get dire. Let's see. Seance level 2? Sure. Oh boy. Yeah, let's keep expanding because I want to loop this back. Because if I can have these defenses hitting some of my locations sooner than later, that's a very good thing. There we go. Hopefully that's going to be worth it. Okay, pop these down. And we're good. Let's see. Anything else? So might as well get one here. Because we're definitely going to need more ballistas. I should probably also start leveling them up a little bit. Though they're mostly holding their own. I think one ballista kind of around here-ish. Or here. Or, not sure. Hey, here-ish is probably fine. And we're going to have you be most shield again. Because, yeah, if I can have a couple of these that are specifically designed to aim for... let's see. Do that. A couple of my ballistas designed to kind of shred down the toughest enemies before they hit my spam zone. That'll be better, because I don't really need to go that tall with my defenses. You know, leveling everything up to level 20. You know, generally 15 is about the best. And you need one or two that are really tough to just kind of shred the big guys before they make it anywhere. So I'm going to grab the university early. Even though we can't use it at the moment. Okay, so have these been worth it? Net tax collected 17 gold. Take a look at some of this. 60. So, yeah, that extra efficiency upgrade really does go quite far. There we go. Alright, what else are we doing? One thing is, mana is starting to look a little dicey. This area is... I honestly thought this portal was going to be dangerous, but it's shockingly not. Okay. Do I want to just get like another couple mana banks down in some of these corners? Yeah, I'm just going to pop them all over the place. Imagine that one dead guy has to pay taxes to 4 houses. Pony up, dead boy. Go back to upgrading this one. Ideally, we can get this thing the bonus shield, or not the bonus shield, start getting these things the poison damage. Unfortunately, I haven't seen that pop up yet, which is unfortunate. We get the Wander achievement. I have no idea. My assumption is no, just because that's so heavily RNG dependent, but you never know. The odd thing is, it's still worth it to grab the university, purely for the 5% crit chance bonus that you can get by unlocking and like going down its tree. Is it 5? I think you can get that like multiple times too, so you might even be able to get like a 15%. This is working like way too well. It's 2 or 3 times 5, yeah. Which like 10% crit chance is pretty solid. Okay, burn damage, bleed damage. Ugh. Or we go crit. Do we go crit or do we start working? I'm gonna get the crit. Oh, what is this doing? And it's okay, but I really wanted it to keep going. Well, fine. Okay. And let's keep putting a lot of our money into this guy. Because getting him to do 1,000 damage to anybody with shields should make it, Should make this a lot easier. Because yeah, if I could get it so that he's capable of one-shotting all shields off of anything it hits, all the better. Interesting that it shot this thing. I don't know why it would do that. Because it should not be aiming for those troop transports. Fortunately, I'm practically going to have to double its damage if I want to pop the shields off of ghosts. Okay. I'm going to need another mana bank. Huh, yeah, can't put that back there. It's fine. And can I get a haunted house next to this guy? Yeah, it looks like it. Payoff seems to be worth it. Oh boy. The one problem is these guys are tragically slow. So if I'm doing wow, how much shields do these things have? Let's see, wouldn't it be more cost efficient to have multiple ballistas upgraded and focused on shields? Yes and no. Okay, ooh, E. This is the time to tax all ghosts run. What the hell? Okay, we definitely need some more mana banks here. Also, maybe some ballistas in that area, but I don't know. This is wild. But yeah, I think at this point I should stop upgrading this one and start working on more. And upgrading the ones that I already have. List of perks list is almost reaching the mid-screen. It really is. I honestly kind of wish it didn't. I'm kind of immune to the UI at this point, but it is a little messy. These things really are just bringing up the Vanguard. But I mean, they're carrying. Okay, so we want to upgrade this one more time and then do this one so that we get zombie Oogie coming out of this. Oh boy, these guys are going to take forever. I mean, I guess peppering this area with a couple of ballistas here and there. Oh yeah, especially like here. Doesn't seem like a bad idea. There we go. Because this way we can pop the transports pretty quickly. And we can layer a couple of extra defenses because a lot of enemies are going to be going by this way. I guess the other thing is I could just stop expanding this entirely. I don't know about that one. I think we just need more defenses in a more spread out state as opposed to kind of here-ish. Because I don't think anything coming out of this portal is going to be a threat to me at the moment. Nope, seance. Give me that money. Oh, I picked the wrong one. It's fine. Oh, do I have more graves to tax? I do. Holy shit. I don't think I've ever had a more, I am the ghost IRS, and I will not leave without my money. How much is, like, this thing paid? They've already broken even, though I've put a lot of perks into them. Okay, the one immediate problem is we need way more mana banks. There we go. Found your video title at least. Yeah, if I can remember this one. I don't know. I'm just kind of thrown off by this. Just how ridiculous it is. Yeah, because they seem to pay out like 20 gold a wave now. Obviously, I had to spend a lot of upgrades to get it, and I'm not sure if that's going to be worth it for most players. But if you're doing like a solo Ballista run, it's very worthwhile. Yeah, the other thing we might want to consider with this is that my base damage is generally high enough to keep the status effects up, so I might want to just increase the tick rate. Rest in peace. Labor in peace. Sizz. Okay. All universities gain a bonus to research, and bam. Okay, I don't think I can tax any of these ghosts, tragically. Okay, I can tax that one. So there's Zombie Oogie, there's Zombie Oogie. Okay. Let's just get that up. Yeah, I'm just kind of spreading this out slightly. Because it doesn't really matter at the moment. We just want to make sure that Zombie Oogie isn't hitting my defenses at the same time that everything else is. Because the way that I win this run is mostly it's mostly reliant on all of my defenses shooting Zombie Oogie at the end. Also hitting him with a decent amount of status effects to just slowly tick him down. Hey, and thank you Necromancer for the 30-month resub. You'll have to take my taxes from my cold dead hands. Oh wait, no, my money. Ghost IRS will not be denied. There we go. Yeah, look at this. They don't actually do a whole lot of damage to him, but it doesn't matter. Okay, still most health. Which, shockingly, it seems to be kind of the best prioritization system here. I'm just going to rely, hopefully, on universities to make up the difference a little bit. Wow, they're actually doing a tremendous amount of damage to him before he's even gotten anywhere. Like, these are all just level, like, 5s and 2s. After all, the saying goes, death and taxes, not death or taxes. Reminds me of that game. I should go back and play that at some point, though time notwithstanding. Them status effects are effective. Like, if we can get a Sanguinate and some of the other status effect related perks, you know, the ones where critical hits do 10 or 20% of their status effects and damage back to them, like, that's where this pops off. It's still good, but, add it to the list. I don't know. I'm not very good on decision sim games. The ones that, wow, we only got one thing off of that. That's rude. More poison damage, more crit, or more crit. I'm gonna go for the research breakthrough because I don't know how common those are. Okay, I don't want to do too many of these ballistas, but I might as well prioritize as many of these like tall points and kind of loop back spots as I possibly can. Okay, what do we do next? We definitely need some more mana banks at the very least. Let's see, what's the blue bar mean? It's slow duration and also slow effect. So, the bigger the bar is, the slower the enemy is going to be, and for how long. Let's see. Yeah, this is working. I'm seeing a number of enemies with shields that are kind of popping through. See, I should probably actually be popping some ballistas here. Now, do I have the max range? Yes, I do have the max range on these, so I can't get any more than I have. It's fine. Alright, so they're melting. I'm still worried about the beholders, but I'm hoping that we can just get enough volume that it doesn't matter. But I might have to have some specialized ballistas specifically to help that out. Okay, and I'd like to get the rest, but we want to go for scholarships. Yes. Because universities are an investment in the future that we specifically have to feed into sooner than later, because it only has so many waves to proc. Question. Is this ghost house? No. It's not feasible. This one might be? No, yeah, none of these are reachable except for this one. But putting a ghost house up there just feels irresponsible. Alright, how we doing? How we looking? So far, so pretty good, actually. Do you have a university down? Yeah, it's these things. Now, I pretty much want to have them focus on magic studies. The missile men are a little worrying. The robots can be problematic. But it's the beholders that kill me. Let's see. Try one above. Saw that a mana thing works from a higher level, just not lower. Sure, but I sincerely doubt it. Yeah, doesn't work. Now I can't. Okay, now I can demolish it. Alright, so far so good. And yeah, the stragglers, who often tend to be some of the toughest, are just getting shredded here. Let's see. Bonus damage to armor. No, we want to bleed them dry. There's the next. One more. Of course, it's entirely up to RNG on whether or not this is going to work for me, but hopefully it will. And we're also getting a lot of splits back here, which means most of the units are going to be coming out of the back, which is kind of nice. I'm still hoping. I don't think we have enough waves, but it'd be really neat to actually like curve back and actually have a wave start back here. So how's the university work? It's a random chance every round where any enemy passing, or not any enemy, a random chance every round rolls 100% chance, and if it succeeds, you get a permanent damage up into whatever it's studying. Which is, it may not be the most powerful thing ever, but it makes it a lot easier specifically to handle some of the later waves, especially with large quantities of defenses, because it applies to every single one of these. You know, just upgrading a tower, one tower only gets you damage on that one, but upgrading all of them, especially to like the nth degree, for shield damage suddenly makes like the boulders a little bit more trivial. Slowing slowest enemies be viable for later waves to spread them out? Kind of. It's honestly better to actually just space it out just by having variable lengths of lanes, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. I want Eviscerate, because that's good. We do want quality over quantity. I'm going to leave that. Let's go for Eviscerate. We actually want to get this one. Okay, most health. Keep pushing the height advantage as long as possible. There we go. Do you get one per university or one per round max? One per university. So technically, if you have just gobs of universities, you're in a very good position to potentially make or get tons of points. So in this case, I've only gotten 1 armor damage and 1 shield damage so far. Hopefully, we will. It will pay out more so than it has, but you never know. Okay, they're not making it as far this time, so the changes I've made have made a difference. Whatever those changes were. Let's see, do we want to get another one? And Kirish is kind of tempting. It doesn't have quite the height advantage I'm going for. This one ain't bad either. But I think this one is fine. Let's see how they doing. Yeah. It's a lot of tough suckers, but none of them are making it very far. And if we just keep chipping them down, then there's no way they cross the finish line. But what I should probably do is pick up those crit perks sooner than later. Specifically because, yeah, this thing only has a 13% chance to crit. This one has an 8. That's not bad. But if I can get that up to a 50%... Wow, high. Okay. It's slightly different from what I was talking about, but okay, sure. Get each one of these up to 10%. Okay, and the one worry here is I see robots. Okay, you're level 6. Do I want that one? Right now, I'm gonna get one more. Your most armor. And this is your specialty. Because, yeah, the robots are kind of quick. I still don't think they're going to make it, but their missiles are a little spooky because they can completely just fly past my defenses. I'm just hoping that they're spread out enough that they don't just immediately blast me. Alright, looks like we're kind of good. I want to get maybe 1 or 2 more that are very much focused on armor. But you. No. Maybe something like right here. Also on armor. Because yeah, we only need a couple of these to pop off their shields, and if we can render the robots largely inconsequential, then nothing scares me on that front. Okay, did I actually upgrade these? Looks like it. There we go. And I want to keep working on magic. Let's see, Trail of Blood, Bleed Them Dry. We want Trail of Blood, because I believe that gets us closer to a Sanguinate. Hey. And now these, we could potentially jam some more defenses here. Maybe. I want to keep going, though. I'm going to just take this all the way. Except for maybe for the Robo-Oogie wave. might want to extend this by like 1. Just to space things out a little bit. Let's see. Other thing is mana banks. Gonna need more of them. Potentially a lot more of them. There we go. How effective have these houses been? Very, actually. So I think the main reason why they weren't worth it is because I'd only invested 1 point into unlocking them. Because I originally thought the mana efficiency just reduced their overall load on the system, not increased the amount of money that they make. I wish that was a little clearer, but at the same time, whatever. If only I had gotten this to turn just a little tighter. I could have done so many great things. I mean, then again, we only partly know what's kind of waiting for us on the other side of this. Let's see. And I should probably have these focused on progress, but I don't know. Slow but sure, yes. Just investing into most health. Well, that's a stinker. It's fine. Yeah, the universities haven't paid out yet. We've still got 12 waves for them to start proccing a little harder. Who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Oops, one too many. That's fine. Take it to 20. Because that's kind of my inevitable goal with each of these. Get it up to 20, 1 in 5 chance per one of these. Which hopefully should mean at least 1 point of shield damage per round, if not more so. Unless RNG truly has just decided to forsake me. It happens not infrequently. Games are just like, no, it's time for you to lose, boy. And I'm like, why? Yeah, the missiles aren't a huge problem. Okay. Back to magic studies. Because, yeah, shockingly enough, you don't really need the bonus armor damage if you've got just a decent enough setup and, like, maybe 1 or 2 things that are upgraded. Because they never come at you in the same volume. So you're only going for magic studies? Yes. So reason for that is there's only a handful of enemies that specifically do armor damage. Have, like, large chunks of armor. The most notable of which are these robots. But if you notice, I haven't really invested a whole lot into anti-armor, and they're getting chunked. That their biggest risk is not actually taking their armor off, but making sure that you're killing them early. Because they don't actually have that much health. They're tough, but you can burn it off pretty quick all the same. Magic, on the other hand, like shields, are very durable. Take a lot of punches to take down, and it's slow but sure. Heavy shafts, broadhead bolts. I think I should probably up the status effect damage here. Yeah, let's go for slow but sure. The flat damage would be nice, but not that nice. But the other thing is, the most dangerous most dangerous enemy in the game are these kind of micro portals that start spawning around wave 40. And the issue with the micro portals is that when they die, they summon beholders, and when those beholders die, they summon oh, I never upgraded this thing. When those beholders die, they summon little eyeballs, and so it's kind of a Matryoshka doll effect. Which wouldn't normally be a problem, except for they all have tons of shields comparatively. But yeah, I can place another university, thank you. But so they'll have tons of shields and get progressively faster as you go. Kind of like the missiles here. So in like this case, this is a little bit of a cause for concern. And what I'm probably going to want to do is actually start upgrading this area, because these guys aren't as tough because they haven't been leveling. We'll get to it in a second. I think that's going to be the next thing I invest in. I'll just get that up to 15. Let's see. I mean, a number of them are like level 10-ish, which is actually quite nice. I'm going to have this one be most armor, just in case. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, just getting a number of these up in terms of defensibility is a good idea. Okay. Because what I want to do is start getting the quality over quantity perks. Because if I can get those, then we can get our crit up to 50% on each of these. We're not getting a Sanguinate. I'm not sure how much we need it, but I know it would help a lot. Be better if I could get the one for poison. I'm actually kind of surprised it hasn't shown up. Let's see, do you spread the status on blisters or you focus on one stat? Gosh, yeah, it does not want to give me what I'm looking for. Sucks. It's fine. So I actually go for kind of more of an all-rounder or poison. All-rounder or anti-shield focused build. It's rare that I will actually go overwhelmingly for like armor or even health, because by the time that you're dealing with enemies, like you're hitting enemies' health, they're almost dead already, and so it doesn't strike me as necessary. Armor is a little tougher, but like I said, relatively easy to chew through. But shield damage is almost inherently a giant pain in the ass. And so that's kind of my core focus. But the other thing is, every time you level up, no matter how you're leveling up, you're increasing your base damage. And so after a certain point, it doesn't really matter what you're leveling. It more so just matters that you are leveling. So even if you invest hard into shields, you're still viable against armored enemies, because as long as your base armor multiplier is like 10, then if your base damage is like stupid high, that's still, you know, say if you have a base damage of 66 but a armor multiplier of 10, that's still 600 damage to armor, which is generally more than enough. So that's why you'll generally notice that I'm going for, you know, shields and armor. Or shields and health, more so than armor. I'm not entirely sold on this being the best way to do it. And chances are there's going to be an update at some point that adds like a new armored enemy that absolutely destroys me. But currently, there's no such thing, so I don't have to worry about it too much. And yeah, if you notice, the last couple enemies are the robots, because they usually have the most amount of health, which means they're often getting slowed, and I can just let the status effects finish them off. Okay. Damages shields, trail of blood. I really wish it would stop trying to give me towers after a certain point, or if I had the option of just locking it in. It isn't bad, but it could be better. Let's just go more shield damage. Okay, so it's Oogie time. I'm gonna put one here. Oh. Fair enough. Wasn't exactly expecting another split at this point, but alright. Frankly, more splits aren't really a big deal. What's my mana doing? It's holding. Maybe not the best, but it's holding. I just want to go through all of these and get it so that their health and shield multipliers at about 20 each. Because it seems to kind of be the magic number where these things really do just shred. I love the fact that this guy can just barely hit some of the things over here. There we go. Some of those shots really go far. And Wander's doing Ballista only. Yeah. It's working too. I will admit this is much more doable because I am playing on a single lane run. I don't know how doable this would be on a double lane. Maybe if I got fantastically lucky. But I'm kind of fine with not pushing my luck that much. Normally when you look at this, you're like, oh yeah, this actually looks kind of dangerous. You know, there's so many enemies coming at me. And then I like tune back in a little while later and it's like, never mind, this is like really easy. And, oh boy, Imagine 3. Oof. Too bad the closed off hole doesn't fill in. I've said this a couple of times. I realize it would take away some of this game's individuality, but if they were to use Loop Hero, can you imagine this crossed with Loop Hero, where instead of going around in the loop, you know, enemies are going in the loop, you're building up towers. You draw cards with either towers or landscape, or, yeah, towers or landscape, and you can kind of build the loop yourself, including the, you know, the surroundings and so on and so forth. It's up to 15%, yeah. And so you get to control it a little bit more. And like, what if even the landscape that you've put your towers on have special effects on their own? Wow, this guy is just, he's getting shredded by my trash ballistas. The things that I just kind of put down and never bothered to upgrade because I didn't feel like I needed to. I'm actually quite impressed here. I figured the bosses would be spooky, but no, they're not. They're nothing. Well, that's about as good of an endorsement as I think I'm going to get for this run. Okay. Sanguinate. Yes. 10 crit steal 10% of the target's current bleed as damage. Creeping Cough would be good too, but a Sanguinate is what I need and then some. Let's see. Anything else? I'm mostly kind of looking for like 3 highs that can make the most of this situation. And kind of anything in these general zones. Okay. No, was it you? You. There we go. And I should probably upgrade some of them, but I don't think I need to. Ooh. 10 extra shield damage. See, that's gonna carry me. It'd be interesting to mix land cards with upgrade cards. Then player would have to choose between upgrades land and land cards. Yeah? I think it could be really cool. I besmirched. I was kind of hard on that Loop Odyssey game that came out a little while ago, but I'd very much like to I'd very much like to see more games take notes. Loop Hero, Vampire Survivors, kind of this game. I'm trying to think of some other like subgenre leaders. Kind of like when Slay the Spire came out, the idea of a roguelike deck builder was not necessarily new. I'd seen a couple that already existed, but most of them weren't that big. How are we doing? Because these guys are kind of tough. Okay, you're new. I'm just gonna have this one on most shield. And let's just buff that a bunch. Because these guys are a bit of a nuisance. Go up to 30. Who's the other new one that I built? This one. It's also do most shield. Because I'm going to have to worry about that a little bit. Yeah, I like Snarks. Let's see. I still don't want to give that guy too much credit because he's gone full crypto lately. Let's see, do I want to go make them suffer? Yeah, it's the only thing that I can pick from this. Honestly, the extra status effect damage really isn't that bad. Let's keep expanding this one. I was really hoping this would turn. It's fine. Where was that tower that I was upgrading? I guess it doesn't matter too much. Hey, here's another one. Yeah, I've got a lot of things that just kind of do all-rounder. We need to focus on just shield damage at the moment. And also mana banks, because, woof, this whole business is pricey. Oh yeah, I did get a treasure chest from the boss on the map. It's hiding behind my own defenses, which is throwing me off. I want the next level of Sanguinate, because that'd be amazing, but the extra level of Crit is so much better. Because now I actually have a chance of getting up. Let's see, crypto how? I'm mostly just talking about investing in it, and I don't want to call it crypto evangelizing, but that's usually what happens. Where they see the dollar bills and they're like, oh, crypto is the future, and then like can't really substantiate it, and then when anybody calls them out on it for being, I don't know, not thinking things through, or honestly just being, you know, a sellout, they usually get jumped on. And so that's what he did. So like a number of us, like a number of YouTubers kind of in my circle were like, hey, please don't. And the developer of Luck Be a Landlord was also like, hey, this is like a terrible idea, and more or less just called us fools. He also went on like this weird long thing about why women don't invest in crypto, and it was like really creepy weird. You know, kind of this like dismissive, like women just don't understand, but also think differently and some other things. And it's like, usually when somebody starts getting that far into the rabbit hole, I usually start pulling back a little bit. I think I might want to go for Creeping Cough just for the extra slow. That's yikes. Yep. And so, whenever anybody mentions Snarks, I'm like, I agree. I think that game is genius, but I absolutely do not want to like tout that game too much, because at this point I have cut ties and will not be supporting that developer. Same vein as Forager. You know, great game, lovely idea. Would love to see more like it, but never ever doing anything in conjunction with Hopfrog again. I need to actually probably make some video essays talking about this sort of thing. Because Hopfrog, the developer of Forager, more or less quit. Wow. Their shield multiplier is through the roof. It's great. Get our health up to 20 and then just keep pumping shield. There we go. But Hopfrog had fired quite a number of his contractors in kind of like weird and sneaky ways, and then threw them all under the bus when canceling Forager multiplayer, and then quit his Patreon and some other stuff and social media. Or maybe his Patreon's still there, but he quit social media in like a really grand way, and it's just like, yep. Great game, genre leader, but at the same time, not a paragon to point to, and so for so many of these games, I'm hoping that somebody else takes the crown so that I can go back to enjoying what I want, but without any of, you know, but in such a way that I don't have to worry about, like, ethical quandaries. Because, yeah, for me, I don't want to say ethics are everything, but I feel like ethics are, especially the older I get, more and more important. That I've been... I've got this. Too often in my life, I've been kind of screwed over by unscrupulous, terrible people. And so kind of as part of it, I'm always going to be just pushing harder and harder for like, hey, ethics matter. And so it's just always going to be something stuck in my head a little bit. Let's see. Hopfrog has done a lot of questionable practices. Didn't he also get rid of a community mod? Right as they came out as trans? I think they came out as trans and then got kind of... It wasn't ghosted, but they got removed pretty quickly for somewhat bullshit reasons. And I know specifically that some of the other like mod community had been notably like anti them and Hopfrog hadn't done anything about it. I don't know if he himself said or confirmed anything, but there's very much that kind of like that aura of stench of like, I hate using the phrase either you're with us or against us when it comes to certain social issues, but there are a couple of things where complacence is acceptance, or tolerance is acceptance, but effectively if somebody's doing something evil in your presence and you do nothing about it, you are effectively tacitly agreeing to have that continue as long as that, you know, as long as you just continue to quietly accept its existence. Wave 40 might not be so bad. I'm definitely going to want to buff this up a little bit more, though. I'm going to make this kind of hard. Let's just focus on most health, but it doesn't really matter, because the universities are giving me enough shield multiplier that I don't need to worry too much. What's the crit rate? Because we want to get up to 30 there. Or, not 30. We want to get up to 50%. Getting those sanguinate crits go a very, very long way. But so, specifically, if yeah, back when I started my channel, I think I was a lot more tolerant of various things. You know, much to my general embarrassment, I had a couple of community members that were much more negative towards Shell, my partner, for various reasons. And I didn't actually go out of my way to stand up for her in the way that I should have. And I just kind of ignored the problem because, you know, I figured it would just go away eventually. And it did, but at the same time, if it didn't, that would still reflect pretty terribly on me in a lot of ways. Let's see, do I want to go for even more crit? Yeah, let's go for the triple crits. And so, I guess just kind of as part of this, I've just been going farther and farther out of my way to, like, kind of speak out if it's something that bugs me. Alright, let's get all of these up to 50%. I was really hoping for more sanguinate crits. I should probably actually invest in health more than anything else. But that, you know, when I see somebody that is kind of more tacitly tolerant of hate or abuse or something like that, or things that I find unacceptable, I usually kind of drop them like hot rocks, because it's just not worth it for me. I don't know what's going to come of it, but I know today was Team 17 kind of on the down low started their own, like, Worms NFT line. Okay, this is a little spooky. I shouldn't be giving NFTs a platform. I feel like no matter what in the situation, like, it's going to get brought up. And so, like, yeah, talking about the beast causes it to grow. But I feel like if you don't talk about it, then it kind of will grow anyway. I don't know. We just need more volume here. Let's see. But so, they started... they just kind of... I think they tacitly just launched a Discord or something. That was going to kind of tout it and, you know, start selling it or whatever, and, like, the Discord itself sounded like it was pretty gross and, very much like, hey, we know that this is just like a giant money grab, but we're all for it. And, like, from my perspective, like, that's a deal breaker. There's a lot of reasons why I could get into why I don't like the practice. And, you know, I could, but honestly, there's a better video on it called Line Goes Up. That just talks about, you know, why this is such a bad idea. And even then, I think he could have gone so much further if he wanted to. But so for me, I don't want to work with anybody that's specifically touting that garbage. And so Team 17 is actually one of the publishers that I've been, like, tied to for quite some time. You know, just covering a lot of their games and supporting any and all of their products. And so to see that kind of pop up is like, oh, yeah, all right. And then, of course, I see a bunch of their, like, kind of partnered developers being like, we didn't ask for this. And I feel so bad for them, like Aggro Crab and whatnot. Yeah, folding ideas. Let's see, vial consumption. We might be able to get it, expunge. It's unlikely, but we might be able to. Okay. I'm shocked. We beat wave 40. I think this is a done run. How do you manage the ethics part when it comes to your long-term friends and other close people? I'm an artist. When the whole NFT thing started, I saw some of my old artist friends got into it. Feels strange to just cut them out of my life for it. I think it depends. I think, so, it really depends on quite a lot of things. And this gets really deep into the idea of, like, forgiveness or, just keep going for kind of shield and health a little bit. Because stuff like forgiveness and mistakes and whatnot, like, you really have a bunch of different angles you can look at it. It really depends on, like, how close you are to these people and, like, if they continue to, say, push this thing that you're not a fan of. Okay, we might actually just need to get just a shit ton of ballistas down. And then my mana's looking bad, but I think we're okay. I can go tall, but I think at this point I need to start going very wide. And I'm just gonna let these be probably focused on health, get their crit up to 50%. And just chill. We really need expunge. We're doing fine without it, but expunge itself is going to go very far. Okay, so I think when it first happened, I can kind of understand people buying into the hype. And honestly, I can understand people buying into the hype no matter what. Just because, especially if you're an artist, you make jack shit most of the time. Part of the reason why I'm glad to do what I do is because, you know, there's a very real possibility I'm going to make a decent living doing what I do, and that's something I just was not going to do with my previous line of work before getting into YouTube. But so, like, a lot of artists are paid absolute peanuts for pouring their heart, their souls, and honestly even their physical health into their craft. And so the idea of being able to sell, you know, sell your artwork in a kind of non-reproducible way where it actually has more value than just kind of like, buy the print for X amount of dollars, you know. There's an inherent value to that idea. The problem is that it very quickly became not that. Sanguinate level 2? Yeah. It very quickly became this kind of horrid cash grab where everybody's just trying to get in on it before, you know, before the bag closes, or, you know, nobody wants to be the ones that are the late adopters, because those are always the people that are left holding the bag. The problem with that kind of core logic is it doesn't lead to a good system. It leads to unhealthy systems where everybody is specifically rushing to make the most out of the system before the door closes, and not about actually, like, any kind of healthy ecosystem. Trying to think of a good example on this. I'm kind of coming up with a little bit of a blank just because I don't usually bother with these. There was a social media platform that launched a couple of years ago as kind of an alternative to Tumblr, and you had to sign up within like an X week period, and if you didn't, you'd have to pay to make an account. And so what you saw was a bunch of artists diving into the idea. Let's see. You saw a bunch of artists and social media people diving into signing up because they didn't want to have to pay the fee, because that would be unfortunate. Yeah, FOMO is both formidable and blinding, and the internet moves so fast it can show up anywhere. Yep. And so, like, I've definitely FOMO'd on a couple of things. What does FOMO stand for, actually? Because I'm pretty sure I know the meaning, but I don't think I've ever actually seen it spelled out, oddly enough. Fear of missing out. There we go. Exactly. So I FOMO'd, what's a good one? GameStop. I don't remember how many of you guys, well, I don't know how many of you guys, were paying attention when, you know, the GameStop short kind of came to a head last year? I think it was last year. But there was effectively a rush on GameStop stock where everybody was buying as much as possible to hold on to it, and then sell it while it was high because you know, it got shorted, and effectively a bunch of investment banker slash hedge fund people were relying on the price dropping so that they could rebuy the shares, and people were holding it for large quantities of money. It's a super basic example of what happened, and I'm sure you could go so much deeper, and I'm sure there's a lot of backroom stuff that I didn't even know about. But effectively, a bunch of people dove onto GameStop, driving it from like $17 up to like $200-300 or something like that. I think it's called a squeeze, I forget. But so, like, I bought into it at 200, mostly just kind of as a, like, why not? It's not going to cost me too much to just buy one. And so I still have that one because the price actually dropped soon after. I could have sold it for like $350, but I was like, maybe I can get a little longer, but also I don't care. Which, very privileged of me, I get that. But it was just kind of this, like, kind of neat thing to buy into, and there was the thought of, like, well, there's a very real possibility this could go, like, banger money. And, you know, everybody could drive it up to, like, 1,000 per share or something ridiculous like that. But there was that kind of energy of, like, but it could happen. And so I think a lot of people got suckered into buying in with the hopes that, you know, with the hopes that it could be them. You know, that they could be that guy who had gobs of shares of GameStop, to the point where I think he even had, like, the opportunity to be, like, a board member or something to that degree. And so, so technically I'm one of the people still left holding the bag on GameStop, because ultimately I bought from somebody else that had bought in previously and then sold. And to some degree, this is kind of inherent to investing, but especially with kind of a rush like this, it's very easy to get suckered in by FOMO, you know, the fear of missing out, and then realizing that you did miss out, you were too late, and then what do you do? And so from my perspective, you know, I see a lot of people rushing into, you know, NFTs or crypto or whatever because they want to get the slice of the pie before the pie is all gone. And I can understand that, and I can kind of be okay with that if it's clear that the person is purely acting under FOMO and kind of pulls back and realizes not their mistake before they like do anything particularly stupid, but like it's not an uncommon story to see like a person spend their life savings on like a shitty JPEG of a monkey, and then, you know, talking on social media about how like the people in their lives don't understand, and how it's like, you know, turned their family against them or so on and so forth. Like, I've seen it happen enough times, or go by enough times, that it's like, it must be common enough. I knew of Bitcoin in 2011 was 20 cents per one. I thought about buying some, but didn't. Yeah. I had a friend that specifically dove in on, oh gosh, this is bad. I'm just gonna get the base damage up. Because, yeah, it's volume that's gonna kill me because I got no AoEs. Let's see. Slow cooker? Yeah, I'll grab slow cooker because all the rest of these are not helpful. But, so I knew a friend that got into Apple stock right before they came out with, was it the iPhone? It was like one of their big product launches that really jettisoned Apple stock from like being a reasonable price to being like stupid expensive. And like dude went, admittedly the dude was already rich to begin with, you know, he was a rich kid from Connecticut. Parents, I don't want to say his parents didn't care for him and mostly just threw money at him. But, you know, that gave him a lot of disposable money to play around with investing as a 16-year-old. But so the dude ended up, yeah, buying a bunch of Apple stock right beforehand because he kind of saw the potential in the product and came out rich. And so, like, he was also the guy that dove in on crypto early, you know, had a first-gen Tesla, had more than a few VR rigs before VR even made sense. And, like, was constantly always just pushing the bleeding edge just because you know, that's what his life had been up until that point. And I think that works for a lot of people, but the most telling part of that was that he got into it because he had so much money to begin with. It wasn't going to sink him. But it feels like with a lot of people specifically diving into a lot of these FOMO situations, is that there's kind of this true fear driving people forward and risking too much as a result. I just want to make sure all of these are as leveled as possible. It's working. Yeah, he had the foundation to pull it off, and the safety net that if he failed, it wasn't going to be that big of a deal, because I think he works at Microsoft? I know he's down in Silicon Valley at the very least. And so, like, even if he had done none of this stuff, he was still more or less set for life as long as he didn't screw up too much. This was also the guy that I specifically, he drove me home in one of his fancy cars going like 95 miles an hour while texting. So he ended our friendship pretty quickly after that, because I realized, like, this guy was not in a mentally healthy or sound place. And that, like, I had tried talking to him about it, and he just didn't even flinch. A very common story with actually a lot of people, kind of in my college. Ethics did not matter to them. Only kind of success in getting ahead did. And I kind of feel like some of my personal stances are almost driven by bad experiences, you know, with these people in college and whatnot. Bleed them dry. Damn, we never got expunged. But I don't think we needed it. I think we're actually fine. And being able to take risks without starving possibly makes things a lot more possible. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would straight up, like, point to myself for that one to some degree, that, you know, I went to art school, which is very much like, I don't want to say super privileged. Like, you can absolutely make a career out of nothing as an artist, but it's a lot harder just because no one wants to pay for art, which is stupid because, you know, artists matter. The biggest failing for Rogue Tower to some degree, like, it looks great, but I feel like if you had an artist, like, really go at this game and make it look really nice, I think would jettison it that much further. It could potentially hold it back a little bit, and honestly, graphics aren't everything, you don't need it, but, you know, I see people complaining about the UI on this game, and I agree, and just, like, a single pass from an artist that knew their stuff could do wonders for a lot of games. You know, ironically enough, Vampire Survivors, same deal. And I do think kind of the roughness of the visual, the roughness of the visuals lends a certain charm, but it also leads you to becoming incredibly forgettable in a way. Whereas, like, Loop Hero is unforgettably gorgeous. It's kind of like why musicians are also extremely important for, like, video games. A bad soundtrack might not hurt your game too much, but a great soundtrack jettisons you incredibly far. Let's see. The biggest failing in this game is the fact that there's no visible grid to make different levels easier to see. Yeah, it'd be nice if you could actually, like, toggle a grid. Or just higher elevations where it's just slightly brighter. Because that's really what you're supposed to do in this situation, is just raise the, let's see. Just raise the brightness. Why am I even doing this? All I want to do is just invest into health damage, because at this point my shield damage is plus 30. So all I need to do is just get my base damage high enough. There we go. Whew. Okay, how's mana holding? Reasonably well. But so, going to art college was an incredibly, like, privileged thing for me to have done. But then after that, I had enough in savings and a safety net that I could actually fall back on. So after I lost my first job post-college and went back home, kind of did just whatever for a while working on YouTube. And then, you know, I did kind of a part-time job at UPS just to give myself something to do. And then YouTube became my job. And, like, anybody can do what I do, but it's so much harder when you have to work 2 jobs just to pay rent. Did Oogie die already? Oh yeah. Oogie, oddly enough, Oogie is a chump. You don't even need to care about Oogie. It's those stupid beholders. Those are the ones you need to care about. Anyway, that was a single Ballista run. I'll have to give it a shot with the triple at some point, but I'm nothing but terrified of what that could be. But I'd be up for some more. Let's play around with the radars and the particle cannons next, because I think that's going to get juicy. Again, or a new game. I'm going to probably do like 3 runs of this. But definitely not all ballistas, because that gets boring. I think what I want to do is go out of my way to get all of the 2 tower achievements done, because I think that could get really, really fun. Though, oddly enough, I actually felt like I was getting far less upgrades than I wanted on that run, which kind of surprised me, because we only got a Sanguinate. We never saw Expunge. We barely saw any of the burn upgrades either. Oh well.